welcome to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy here in Detroit Lake City Park at the Band Shell. We are on site of the Shakespeare in the Park this year. Nikki Caulfield, the director. And Nikki, what year of Shakespeare in the Park is this?
6 already. Wow. Yeah.
She just laughs. So let's talk about the performance this year.
So this year we are doing Titus Andronicus. This is a Elizabethan revenge tragedy. Oh. So it's a lot of fun, actually. It's not like a Hamlet or a King Lear tragedy where everybody stands on stage and emotes about, how terrible things are. In this play, if they decide they are angry about something, or at someone, more or less, they just kill the other person. Oh. So it's a lot of stage blood. It's really, really fun for that.
So there's actually going to be blood brought out.
Oh my goodness, we have to scrub the stage every night afterwards. Now, just, forewarning, it is just Caro syrup, chocolate syrup, and red food coloring. Oh, okay. It tastes excellent.
Perfect. You must have a lot of ants in the...
Well, hopefully we clean it off well enough ahead of time, but...
All right. So when is this performance happening? I know it's happening the last week of June, but also July.
Absolutely. So we're June 27th, 28th, and 29th, and July 3rd and 5th. So it's a Thursday and a Saturday in July.
Okay, perfect. And who are the actors this year?
We've got kind of a big mix of actors. We have Katie Anderson, who has been in all 6 productions now. Kind of old hat getting with her.
Is she the only one that's been all 6 in all 6?
Yep, she is. She is, and I don't know, since she's going to college out in New York now, I don't know if she'll be back next year or not. But it's kind of cool that she's done all 6 of them. Otherwise, we have a big mix of actors from kind of the surrounding communities, and quite a lot from Fargo-Moorhead, actually. Commuter actors.
Mm-hmm. I suppose this is caught on Shakespeare in the Park. It doesn't happen everywhere.
No, it doesn't. So it's been kind of fun, and we're starting to get, I think, a pretty good reputation for putting on a good show. Mm-hmm. So some of these actors are kind of coming down as they're hearing about it and being interested in what we're doing.
All right. So I know you've been holding a lot of practices, stage rehearsals. Obviously, you're outside, so you have to get into the elements right away. How do practices run?
Practices run a lot of, like you said, we need to be out in the elements. We need to be accustomed to the random person who drives through with their motorcycle going at full tilt, to the cars that are coming through here, the squirrel that runs across the stage. We had a kid a week ago run across the stage going, "Ah!" in the middle of practice. No idea who this kid was. But these things happen. So
obviously a future actor.
Sure, except that I think he was like 15 or 16. So, just odd things happen, and these guys need to be ready for it. So just, it's pretty much the same as a rehearsal in a theater, only we are doing it out here just because there are so many variables and unpredictables that can happen here in the park, which is, I think, a lot of what makes it absolutely a blast.
Right. So people can come down to the park, the time, maybe come a little bit ahead of time, find a seat, and bring their own chairs? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. It's free admission, so just come on down. You can sit on the park bench if you don't mind kind of a hard plastic seat, or bring your own. I've seen people bring a blanket and a picnic. I just ask, if you bring a picnic, please don't bring too many crinkly, crunchy wrappers, because it's very distracting. Or I always end up sitting behind the person with something that smells delicious, of course. So, absolutely, though, come on down, come sit down. A lot of people like to sit really close to the stage. We are, obviously, as we've been talking about, outside, so we don't have microphones on the actors, because it's really difficult to mic everybody with the sound system here. So you do need to sit fairly close to the stage to be able to actually hear really well everyone. Now, like I said, these are all seasoned actors. We have nobody here this is their first show, so they understand a lot of the, the projection, the enunciation, things like that. But again, with the park and the random, you can hear the kids over on the playground screaming in the background. So, sit close just so that there's fewer distractions that way.
Okay, excellent. I'm here with Nikki Caulfield in Detroit Lake City Park, where the Shakespeare in the Park is being held this year, and you can make it on down. Again, Nikki, this takes a lot of work, obviously. You have rehearsals. You do the costumes. You make the costumes. The sets are built. So, do you have any sort of funding for this?
It's free will donations. We rely on the people that come to the show to be generous and open up their wallets. And we always say, give us what you think we deserve after you've seen the show. Hopefully that covers everything. And usually our audiences have been pretty generous. We like to kind of suggest $5 per person, in your group. just as a base donation. But whatever you can afford or are willing to give us, we are super appreciative for.
All right, very good. Well, we're going to take a break and talk to one of the actors when we come back next on Hometown Happenings. Welcome back to Hometown Happenings here in the Detroit Lake City Park, the home of the Shakespeare in the Park here in Detroit Lakes. And I'm standing with one of the actors this year, Evan Christie. Evan, tell us a little bit about yourself and who do you play in this Shakespeare in the Park this year?
I get to play Titus Andronicus, so it's a really fun part. He gets to do a lot of cool things. He's a very fun part to play. He's got a lot of depth to him and the revenge that he seeks, and he kind of goes crazy in the show too, so I get to play crazy, and that's really fun.
All right, now where are you from, Evan?
I'm from Moorhead.
Okay, all right, and this is the first Shakespeare in the Park that you've been in, I'm understanding.
Yes, it is. It's the first time I've been in Shakespeare in the Park here in Detroit Lakes.
Okay, so obviously you've been in, as Nikki was just saying, there's a lot of seasoned actors here this year, so what are some other performances that you've been in? Oh,
I've probably been doing theater since I was in about 4th grade. I was a theater minor in college, so I did a lot of stuff at Straw Hat, Players in Moorhead. I've done things at the Fargo Moorhead Community Theater and various theaters throughout the FM area, but this is my first time doing theater in Detroit Lakes.
All right. Well, obviously with the Straw Hat Players you've been outside before, but is this a little bit different than you're used to?
It is. It's the first time I've performed Shakespeare outside. It's the first time performed outside without a microphone. And it's a really cool space to do it, and it's so natural. You can see so much of nature, so it's really great in the show when you're like talking about looking out at the trees and the forest. That it's right there. You really are looking right out at them.
Right. So, what kind of challenges have you faced so far, as in your rehearsals or just in this experience?
Well, one of the tricky things is we didn't really have all our cast together for about the first week of rehearsals, so that was kind of a challenge. The show is very dark. And so figuring out how to play the emotions honestly without being over the top, that's kind of the thing that's a challenge too here. But it's been a really great experience.
And you have a great voice. I mean, I think your voice will project very well.
I've always been told I'm loud. That was when I was like 5. That was a bad thing, and then when you get into theater, suddenly that's great. So.
So all you loud 5-year-olds out there, there's a future for you in acting. All right, so you hail from Moorhead, and so what kind of time commitment have you put into this?
Well, the time has been fairly substantial. I mean, I've been commuting down here with my fiance and friends and stuff. We've been carpooling pretty much Monday through Friday most weeks. So it's a fairly big time expense in the evenings to do that, but it's definitely been worth it.
Great experience. Well, I think people are, this is caught on, but this is the 6th season of the Shakespeare in the Park, so I think you'll have quite an audience down here and break a leg, as they say. Do they still say that?
They do. Thank you very much.
Evan Christie, one of the actors here on Shakespeare in the Park this year at the Detroit Lake City Park, and it's happening June 27th through the 29th, and I believe the 1st and the 5th, as Nikki said. So come on down and check it out. I'm Carol McCarthy, Hometown Happenings on TV3.